Presenting Days and Woes. We turn our attention once again to Shakespeare's first folio, published in 1623, exactly 400 years ago this year. We're going to be taking a look at a page from Romeo and Juliet, and our tools will be the 23-letter Latin alphabet gematria values and the Latin alphabet repeated count. We will look at page 73. We will start with a simple count in Act 5, Scene 5. This is Nurse's lamentation, which could easily be a bit of comic relief at the end of such a play, simply because of this. Days and woes are an example of parasologia, excessive repetition of words to draw attention to itself. And of course, any actress or actor worthy of their salt would play this exaggerated. So I ask myself, what if I counted the number of woes and days, since they are obviously excessively repeated? So I counted them. Not surprisingly, I found that the number of days and woes add up to 17. Then I ask myself, well, what if I counted the number of letters in these phrases? What would that come up to? Well, there are 68. And 68 is 17 times 4. This is important because the first woe makes the word count or letter count work out. Normally, woe would be W-O-E, but it's W-O. Next, I did a gematria sum of all of these uppercase letters. Then, I added the page number, and I got 238. The sum is divisible by 17. 17 times 14. Notice, the first solution is 17 times 1. The second solution is 17 times 4. And 1 in front of 4 is 14. Pretty clever, that. There are 28 uppercase O's in this page. That's another example of parasologia. With a gematria sum of 392. I added the page number 73, just like I did with the other little puzzles. I got 465. I added the number of O's to that, 28, to get 493. .493 is the sum is a multiple of 17. 17 times 29. We know that the first three solutions are an example of the tria sunt omnia principle, in which a repetition of 3 of anything, be it a theme, a word, or number, signifies that something profound is being expressed or hidden. The extra little puzzle is just a bonus. Again, the uppercase O's have a gematria sum of 392. I added the page number, added the number of uppercase O's again. I added the number of rows. I added the number of columns. And I got 561, which is 17 times 33, the most sacred number in Christianity because it is allegedly the age at which Christ died. Then I looked at line 17 on the right-hand column and found something really unusual. Mind you, anybody looking this page over would see it right away. We have a 4-O puzzle. The word hour repeats itself 4 times over and above each other on the left-hand column, or the left-hand margin rather, of the right-hand column. And 4-O is a visual pun on the number 40. The Latin alphabet repeated count of 73 is 4 Ds, D, 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 or 40 again. We return to the left-hand column and I'm going to show you a numbergram acrostic. We're going to go down the left-hand side of the column along the far left margin. The full length of the page. We're going to look for Roman numerals and homophones. These ones. And then we're going to add them up. This homophone of the number 4 is indented from the margin and therefore excluded from the count because it's not as readily noticeable as the other numerals and homophones. So we add these up. Once again, not surprising, the sum is 17 again. Here are a few more puzzles. They're in the section from when Peter enters the scene to the end of the page. What I first discovered was the gematria sum of Peter's second little speech set of lines, actually is his third, sorry, has a gematria sum of 88. And of course, 88 in the Latin alphabet repeated count is 4 T's. The reason I added these up is because the speech is unusual because it has 4 allusions to music. He says, "Then will I lay the serving creature's dagger on your pate. I will carry no crotchets, I'll ray you, I'll foul you, do you note me?" Well, a lay is a type of song, a ballad. A crotchet is a sign in musical notation. Re and fa are 2 musical notes, and of course he says, "Do you note me?" Pun, 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 pun. That's why I added those up. Then I decided let's add some more uppercase gematria sums. And so I did the same with Peter's next 3 sets of lines. right up to James sound off, the italic, only the second or third actually italic words that he speaks. And of course the gematria sum of all the italic uppercase letters in these lines is again 88. Simon Gatling, Hugh Rebick, James Soundpost. And of course, both those values have a Latin alphabet repeated value of TTT, or 4 T's. Again, a homophone of 40. Now, remember the gematria sum of all the italic uppercase letters in these lines is 88. We subtract the number of all italic letters in the speeches from the sum, and we get 51. 17 times 3. Now, in his biggest speech, the gematria sum of the Roman letters is 119, which is 17 times 7. If we subtract the gematria sum of the italic uppercase letters in the same speech, 21, we get 89. 8 plus 9 is a digit sum number of 17. This is a clue the puzzle exists because the word what in this speech along the left-hand margin of the column has a lowercase w. Y directly above it has an uppercase W. When 2 lines above that has an uppercase W again. Therefore, the lowercase w is deliberate because the compositor would have had to have reached for another tray or another box in the tray to get the lowercase w. Why get a lowercase w for that line when he could have been consistent and getting w's all uppercase letters? He did that so that people who see the typesetting error or difference, the enigma, will try and find puzzles or things beneath the surface of the page. Another clue the puzzle exists is that in the same speech he says silver sound 3 times. And he also says music with her silver sound 3 times. Once again, it's an example of the triasymptomnia principle. Are all of these mere coincidences? But wait, there is more. Is this another bit of coincidence here in the top part of the right-hand column before Peter enters the scene? Look closely at this line, line 3. Notice the upside down italic O that looks more like a seed pod than a letter. It's set lower than its neighbors. Could this be a pun? As in 40, the number 40 was your heaven? If so, it may be part of another numbergram acrostic. This one. We have 3 different homophones for English numbers. 4T, 2, and 4. When we add the page number to 46, that is 46 plus 73, we get 119. We need not include this homophone, 40, right here, in that line, for though some nature bids us all lament, because there are 10 lines above it from the oddly spelled 40 above, and 10 lines below it to the next homophone. And 10 minus 10 is 0. But if we do add this, we don't use the first homophone due to the upside down letter O. Once again, it's definitely consistent with many, many other puzzles. We subtract things that are different from a sum. And this is different because of the italic upside down lowercase o. If you add the extra Roman numerals to get to this acrostic, you get 48. We add the page number to get 121. And if we add the number of rows, 66 of them, we get 187, or 17 times 11. Skeptics will want proof that these puzzles exist. Here is proof. Count the number of plays listed on the right-hand column of the catalog of plays before Romeo and Juliet. What are the odds that this multiple of 17, 187, which is 187, which is 17 times 11, equals the location of the play in the catalog? It is the 11th play from the first one listed, the first part of King Henry IV. What are the odds that this is by chance? Remember, the tragedies and comedies could have been listed in any order. That means the puzzles were deliberate. So, are all of these mere coincidences? 8 multiples of 17. A digit sum number that adds to 17. 4 puzzles which resolve to the number 40, either through the Latin alphabet repeated count values of 73 and 88, or the presence of 4 letter O's, one above the other. These cannot be chance, otherwise we would be saying the compositors were doing their jobs while semi-conscious and just grabbing uppercase letters willy-nilly. So, take a closer look. Are there more clues that puzzles are here? Notice that these lines are markedly different from the rest of the speeches on the page. Each of these lines has noticeable repetition. 5 repeat something 3 times. We have madam, 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 lady, 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 she's dead, she's deceased, she's dead, alack the day, she's dead, she's dead, she's dead, one poor and loving child. 5 have the same rhythm or cadence. O me, my child, my only life, she's dead, deceased, she's dead, alack the day. But one poor and loving child. O life, not life but love and death. O child, my soul and not my child. Just as a diversion, you could insert these lines into a dark and musical. Let's see what we can do. We can rearrange the lines and give the characters these as lyrics. Start off with a slow pastoral melody here, sung by nurse. I must needs wake her, madam, madam, madam. Which changes at line 3. Look, look, oh heavy day. You can't even say that quickly. The melody changes again here with she's dead, deceased, she's dead, alack the day, sung by the nurse and a chorus. The father sings a solo line here. He's the priest. He says, but one one poor and loving child, which is followed by 3 lines by the mother. O me, my child, my only life. O child, my soul and not my child. O life, not life, but love and death. Interestingly, these 2 people are at opposite ends because I do not believe the mother knows her daughter is taking the sleeping draught. You could insert some lyrics here between that last line and the final line here. Everyone ends the scene with an ironically triumphant crescendo in the same melody as from line 5. Alack the day, she's dead, she's dead, she's dead. The lines show different rhetorical figures as well. This is anaphora. These 2 lines begin with the same words. I must needs wake. This is anabasis. The same words are repeated for emphasis. Madam, 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 and lady, lady, lady. Here is more anabasis with look, look. This is diacope, repeating a word or phrase with 1 or 2 intervening words. We have she's dead, deceased, she's dead. It's also an example of exergasia, repeating an idea using different word. Dead and deceased are the same thing. This is antimetaboly, chiasmos and epinatos. This is asterismos or ekphonesis, adding O to emphasize the sentence. This is more asterismos ekphonesis, and it's also diacope because the letter O, or the exclamation O, is separated by a single word each time. This is more anabasis, which is O me, O child, O child. This is metonymy, using different words for the same thing. My only life and my soul describe Juliet to the mother. And this is more anabasis. She's dead, she's dead, she's dead. This is a form of anadiplosis. The same phrase is at the beginning and end of these sentences. In other words, she's dead. This is more anadiplosis. I believe that these rhetorical figures are more signs and hints that there are all sorts of puzzles hidden on the page. And you have to look beneath the surface to get the meaning of those puzzles. Now I'm going to present a weird coincidence. Or is it? The gematria sum of all the uppercase letters in these lines is 218. Notice that they are the only lines in the play that have such weird rhythms. If we subtract the page number, 73, and subtract the number of rows per column, 66, subtract this sum of 3 because the number 1 is mentioned 3 times in this line, but one poor and loving child. And if we subtract the number of words in these lines, and there's 76 of them, you end up with 0, as if the author is negating himself. And is this another weird coincidence? Once again, we have a gematria sum of 218 with all the uppercase letters here. This time we add the number 73, and we add the number of rows, 66. The sum is 357, or 17 times 21. They can't all be the result of chance. This may be the proof we need. This line from the right-hand column is, "Oh, in this love, you love your child so ill." The uppercase O and uppercase C have a gematria sum of 17. We add the number of characters, 34, the page number, 73. We add the number of rows, 66. But in a twist, we subtract the number of columns, we get The digit sum number 188. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 8 is 17. How many times do these types of numbers have to appear before they are meaningful? 12 involve the number 17 in some way, and 4 involve the number 40. Only one man at the time could have been readily identified by the numbers 17 and 40. Here is the man identified by the numbers 17 and 40. He was extremely well educated. He was also writing as Shakespeare. And of course we mean Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.